BMW is gonna pull an asshat move. Go ahead.
Go.
I know the BMW market too well. I used to drive one. Oh my god, power, come on! Come on! And we're doing 50 kilometers per hour. Anyway. Now let's be blunt here, the first two generations of the Avanza were more like utility vehicles than actual MPVs. They rode harsh, they were unrefined, and well, the driving experience wasn't so good. And those shortcomings were highlighted by its other competitors. Now, sure, it sold well, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was a great vehicle. Now you have the all-new Avanza, and it aims to erase all the shortcomings of its predecessors. So just how all new is this all new Avanza? Well, for starters, it is a proper unibody like all of its competitors. And here's the shocker. It's now front wheel drive. Now, as for the design, it is revolutionary, looking more like a baby Innova rather than a direct successor of the model it replaces. Now, if you put this one beside the old one, your first reaction to the all new model will be, this is an Avanza? You'll have the same reaction when you step inside the new MPV. Now, granted, it's still full of hard plastics, although it doesn't have an Alphard-like interior, but that's not the point. The point here is it has to be better than its predecessor, and Toyota definitely did their homework in here. The interior is definitely more car-like than before, and the driving position, well, it is much improved. Now, this is no longer a mini truck disguised as a family wagon. And of course, this being an MPV, you get cubby spaces. So you have cup holders just in front of the AC vents, a sizable box just under the AC controls, and a neat little shelf above the glove box. Now, if there's something that irks me about the interior, it's the faux carbon fiber. Now, to manufacturers, if your car doesn't have any sporting inclinations, please don't put it in. And while we're ranting about things, why no seat height adjuster? It's 2022. Now, sure, most of its competitors don't have it, but that's not an excuse. I mean, the Veloz already has it, so why not put it here? So if you're going to compare the space of the old Avanza to the new one, well, it is much improved, and that's thanks to the shift to the front-wheel drive and unibody platform. And it's reflected here in the space. Now, the space efficiency is much better, and there's more wiggle room as well. As for amenities, you have AC vents here at the back. You have a neatly placed cup holder here on the door pockets. That's a pretty nice location. And you have two USB ports for charging, so you don't run out of juice when you're on that long road trip. As for the third row, it's exactly what you expect. It's going to be cramped for tall people and tolerable for those under the height of 5'6". Of course, you can slide this forward and back for a few inches more legroom. But the main highlight here isn't the third row seat, but rather it is the mechanism, because finally you get fold flat seats in an Avanza. No more bulky tumble forward mechanism that eats up so much of the cargo space. Powering the Avanza, well, the 1.5G at least, is this, well, 1.5 liter unit with 104 horsepower and 138 Newton meters of torque. And it now shifts with a CVT, or continuously variable transmission. Now, some of you guys have raised some eyebrows about its specs and its stats, so the only way to find out if this is enough to pull all of this is to take it out for a test drive. Now at this point, you're probably wondering, I'm probably being too kind to the Avanza, that I don't have a bad word to say about it. Well, if there's one thing that needs improvement, that would be in the performance department. To be honest, it needs a little bit more torque. Now, I'm aware that these are not performance cars at all. These are economy MPVs. However, the point of an MPV is to carry people and cargo, and once you start loading up the Avanza, that's where the engine starts to be a little bit more vocal. Now, yes, It's not supposed to be fast, but again, more grunt, more low-end torque would be greatly appreciated. And it's not helped by the fact by this CVT. Now, the CVT tends to have a rubber band effect. Now, if you own a CVT, you're going to know exactly what I mean. So, what does that rubber band effect mean? Well, when you step on the accelerator, it seems like there's nothing. And then all of a sudden, the engine just starts making more noise, and you're going to move forward that little bit quicker. Now, in the Avanza, it's a little bit more pronounced. So, that's pretty much my gripe with the performance of the Avanza. It needs more torque, and it needs a slightly better tune for its CVT. It's not all bad news though, because yes, it's slow, but at least it is efficient. Now, around town driving, around the city, it'll easily do 8 to 9 kilometers per liter, 8 in really bad traffic, 9 on a pretty normal traffic day and all that. And when the traffic is much lighter, it'll effortlessly do 12 to 13 kilometers per liter. On the highway, well, you're probably even going to look at 15 to 16. And if you're really, really light with your foot, you might even hit as high as 20. That said, be wary about the brakes though, because they're a little too excited, even if you're trying to tiptoe to a stop. So just be wary. The 2022 Avanza no longer has to rely on the brand's star power to get sales. It is a genuinely competent vehicle. It's more comfortable, it's efficient, the packaging is great, carries a lot more, it's still light to drive and all that, all the hallmarks of an easy to drive and very agreeable MPV, a subcompact MPV to be exact. However, that engine just really needs a little bit more juice under the hood. And if Toyota gets to do that in the next couple of years, then the Avanza will be probably one of the best, if not the class leader in its segment. It has that potential. So some of the things we've been talking about is, what if they put the raised turbo engine in one of these? That's definitely going to help the torque shortage. But of course, it'll all depend on Toyota's decision. That said, if this is how I feel with a 1.5 liter, I can only imagine what it's like to drive a fully loaded version with 1.3 liters. Again, I would suggest you try one first before you buy it to see if the power is enough for you. As for price, well, it is a hair under 1,040,000 pesos. And that's about the ballpark of your typical subcompact MPV these days. Or that's pretty much the norm. Yes, you'll get to save a lot more money if you get the 1.3 liter, but the 1.5, it's pretty fair value, especially when you consider all the improvements that Toyota has done for the 2022 Avanza. So this has been Anton Just for Top Gear Philippines. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to our YouTube channels and catch us on our socials too, on Facebook, Instagram, and yes, we are also on TikTok. Thanks for watching.